Hello, Jim Howard here in Fort Worth, Texas. Today's date, it's December 18th, 2020. I believe it's a Friday. It is a Friday, 2:19 p.m. Let me update you a little bit because it's, I think, sort of educational. Or maybe it's a warning. I don't know what it is. Anyway. As I mentioned before, my ex-wife, my grown son, and myself, we all share an apartment here in Fort Worth, Texas. And we all chip in on the cost of the apartment. And that way we don't have to have, two apartments, two rents, two cable bills, two electric blocks, so, Anyways, I've been divorced for about 40 years. I got married at my ex-wife, she was 18. I was 26. And we got divorced after about 12 years. I think I was about 40. And I'm going to be 80 in a couple months. Well, March, I guess 3 months. So, why did I? Oh, okay. So, my ex-wife had polio when she was like 5 years old. She was like the polio vaccine became available. She got polio and then it became available immediately. So she had to use crutches for years, and for the last few years she's been totally wheelchair bound, and she has a lot of, she has allergies, and she has post-polio syndrome. She's had cancer a couple times, on and on. Let's just get to the recent thing. The current doctor that she has, with our health insurance, you have to pick a primary care doctor, one that's on their list, and then that primary care doctor, if you need to see another doctor, you have to get a referral from your primary care doctor to, go to this other doctor, cardiologist, or, whatever it is. So I think I've done okay on referrals and things. I sure know I got a good heart doctor. But her primary care doctor that she's had recently is a female doctor, and Darlene has had trouble getting prescriptions, filled that she needs. She's had to call this, one doctor multiple times. And of course, she doesn't talk to the doctor. She talks to some nurse, and she says, I need my prescription. I'm out of it, whatever. And this, I've told Darlene, you need to get a new primary care doctor. You can do that, change primary care doctors. So finally, 3 weeks ago or something, I'm not sure exactly on the date, Darlene actually got the primary care doctor on the telephone, and I was back and forth going to the kitchen getting food and stuff like that, so I was hearing part of the conversation, from Darlene's side. And so Darlene talked for about 20 minutes or more, maybe longer, to this doctor. I was surprised. And about, Darlene was talking about her diabetes and about her other problems. And then the doctor said, to Darlene, I've I'll have to call you back. I've got something here I need to take care of. And so about 20 minutes or so later, Darlene was back on the phone talking to this doctor, her primary care doctor. And then Darlene gets off the phone, and then Darlene says, I have liver damage. I have scarring on my liver, and I have stage 2 of liver damage. And I was like, oh, where did this come from? And she said, well, the doctor told me. And I said, you haven't had any lab work done recently. So, that would show up on lab work. And Darlene said, well, the doctor says I have stage 2, liver, And I said, scarring? You haven't had a CAT scan or an MRI or anything done recently. I said, the only way I think that would show up, it wouldn't show up from lab work of scarring or whatever. If you have liver damage, yeah, your lab work would be, She says, I've got it. So then Darlene started watching all these YouTube videos and going to change her diet. And man, it just a pain, really, watching all these YouTube. And I said, because I walked through there, to get to the kitchen. And I'm saying, now you can't depend on, like some of these people, like I walked through and it said Doc, a person's Doc and a first name or something. I said, is that a medical doctor or is that somebody who has a PhD? And just going, and then she says, well, these things are contradictory. And I said, well, you have to, judge. I said, if it's, and she says, well, I was watching, I forget, Miniature Clinic, or I forget which one it was. And I said, okay, that sounds like a legitimate. And then she said, she mentioned another hospital. I said, yeah, I forget some big, I said, that sounds like if that doctor works there, I think that's okay. And then she mentioned some hospital, I don't know. I don't want to make up somebody because somebody, but a hospital that sounded, but I said, I've never heard of them, so you don't know if they're. So anyway, she's going on about changing her diet and all the different things, drinking coffee, not drinking coffee, drinking a lot of fluids, but then somebody else says that if you're putting more liquids into your, So then, a couple of days ago, at night, I woke up. I sleep a lot. I just go to bed for a nap. I woke up and my son was on the phone with 911 calling an ambulance for her, my grown son. And she was in a bunch of pain. And the ambulance, people showed up and I heard her telling the EMS people, I have post-polio syndrome. I've had 2 cancer surgeries. I've had, this, and I thought, and then she said, I have stage 2, liver. I have cirrhosis of the liver, stage 2. And I thought, I don't think that she should be telling them that. She doesn't. I don't, but anyway, I'm not getting involved, So she goes to the hospital. And, I don't know, 8-10 hours later, she comes back. She had to use a transport service, to bring her back because she can't stand up, can't get a wheelchair into a regular car, and still. So she comes back, and then she says they did blood work, and my blood work was okay. Well, I'm sure probably blood sugar was a little high, but so far as the liver was concerned, nothing. And she said they did I think it was an MRI. And she said there was no signs of it. She said the ER doctor says how did your doctor know that you have, you don't have any liver damage. Your lab work is okay. And scarring or whatever wouldn't show up. I think he said it wouldn't even show up on an MRI or whatever. And I said, oh, okay, well, see, and so then I told her my theory. Okay, my theory was, which I think is true, her doctor had her chart there the other day, had Darlene's chart. He talks to her for 20 minutes, or she talks to this female doctor. She talks to Darlene for 20 minutes, and then something comes up. She needs to take care of a patient or do something, and she tells Darlene, I will call you back. And she leaves. Okay. I think one of the staff, Dr. So-and-so is done with this chart and put the chart where, in the rack. And then somebody else's chart is there. Maybe the next one the doctor is supposed to talk to or something. The doctor comes back, calls Darlene, and then, flips, okay, well, Darlene, you have stage 2, and scarring, and you have, I think that's what happened, which is a big mistake. I mean, that's big. So, Darlene's home, okay. And I'm saying you need a new doctor, So anyway, last night, Darlene calls me through, Echo's announcement or whatever, and I go in there and she's, call, call 911 or whatever. I'm in pain. Anyway, Jimmy, I said, you called 911 the other day. Call them again. You're the 911 call expert. And then Darlene had me call the insurance company nurse on call. I called and and Darlene is in pain. And when she's in pain, she just wants to get help. She doesn't want to give any information, really. I mean, she's... but anyway, I'm trying to get information from Dar and the employee, or the insurance nurse hears her moaning, and I give a little bit of information. Then she says, sounds like she's in pain. She needs to go to the hospital right away. So of course the ambulance shows up. And they take her. So, and I believe that when they showed up, I think Darlene was telling them, well, the other day when you guys took me, I had liver damage, but then it found out, and I thought, oh, we could just leave this information, too much information. Anyway, so she goes to the hospital. Of course, we can't go, you can't go in, just a patient. She goes to the hospital and takes us a little while to find out what's going on, but they did the test or whatever, and she has gallstones, which I also have. But mine, I don't think ever caused me any trouble, although I have so much pain from arthritis, and I have pain from arthritis in areas like with gallstones. You can also have pain in the back and pain in the shoulder. I have pain in all those places. So, but as far as I know, I don't think my gallstones are causing me any difficulty. But she needs an operation, and maybe they've already done the operation. We don't know, because she was talking to the doctor about the operation. We haven't even found out Hilary, you're going to see the video, by the way, a little video after this of that I made with my cell phone. Nothing special, but anyway, we drove down to the hospital. They won't let you in, but Hilary took down something for Dar and Hilary's second cell phone. I'm not sure that Darlene even knows how to operate a cell phone. And of course we can't take it up to her. You have to give it to somebody at the door and say, take this, you know. So, the way I found out I had, by the way, gallstones, I don't know anything about gallstones. I mean, other than, you know, I looked a little bit. I had to have a chest x-ray, and I forget why. Maybe it was just time to have a chest x-ray. And a little thing showed up on the chest x-ray. And of course the doctor said, well, this probably isn't anything. You know, it could just be some error in there. Sometimes this happens, but we need to have you have a, you know, CAT scan. So I had to go for a CAT scan. And they did the CAT scan. And they found it was, I don't know what they call it, you know, little error, nothing. I mean, it's just the x-ray, you know. A little error in there or something. Nothing to worry about. But, you know, I have access to my medical, you know, all my medical records online. Pretty neat. I can log in and leave a message for the doctor. I can log in and request medication. I can schedule appointments, and I can see all of my medical records, everything, lab work and everything. But so when I had this CAT scan or whatever, I was waiting to get, actually, normally I think the way the doctor likes to set it up is, well, I could maybe only if it's bad news, but anyway, my primary care doctor, actually it looks like my lab work and everything gets posted pretty quick. And then it'll be maybe a day or two, and then my doctor gets around to going in and looking at the things, and then we'll type in something, you know. This is a little bit high. When we check it again, we'll see if it comes down and stuff like that. But also there was when you have an x-ray taken at a hospital, or probably anywhere, but when you have an x-ray taken, like you go to the emergency room, you know, your arm is whatever, hurting or something, and the x-ray people take a picture of it, and then they bring it to the emergency room, and the emergency room doctor will say, okay, it's broken, or I'm not sure it's broken, whatever, and he'll look at it, you know. If it's at night or whatever, well, there's probably no radiologist, the doctor back in the, you know, there's technicians who will take the x-ray and whatever, but the next day, Monday through Friday, or whatever the schedule is, the radiologist comes in and puts these things up on the screen, and they know. I mean, that's what they're trained in. They, you know, sometimes the doctor will say, you know, the ER doctor will say, okay, I don't think it's broke, but we'll send it home with a wrap on it, and then the radiologist will, you know, be in contact with you, and then sometimes the radiologist will say, oh yeah, blah, 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 break, you know, and then the person gets, you know, to see a orthopedic doctor. So I knew a radiologist would have to write a report. So I looked it up, and it, you know, it said artifact or error or whatever that was, and then down at the bottom it put something about scan, you know, and then it put a Latin name in there, and it's like, well, what's that Latin name? So I did a Google search, and that was gallstones. So the scan that I had, the MRI or CT scan or whatever it was to check that thing, went down low enough that they saw, you know, and that I have gallstones. So that's how I found out about that from me. Okay, here come two videos of me, I think, one sitting in a car and the other walking around a little bit the parking garage waiting for Hilary to get back from taking her cell phone and whatever to the door and hoping that it's going to get to Darlene. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Hello, Jim Howard here in Fort Worth, Texas. Actually at the JPS Hospital emergency parking. My daughter Hilary, I'm sitting in her car. She just is running into the emergency room door because they're not going to let her in the hospital, and she's bringing a cell phone and I don't know what else for my ex-wife Darlene. Darlene a couple of days ago had to call an ambulance and go to JPS emergency here for extreme pain, and so after, I don't know, 12 hours or something, rather, that emergency room sent her back home, and then she had last night, a few hours ago, extreme pain, and turns out that this time they found out what it was, gallstones. So she's going to have an operation. They're going to take the gallstones out, I guess. Anyway, I'm going to stop this and we're going to head out to party someplace, I guess. Just kidding. Okay. Life flight helicopter. We're in the parking. We went to one, you know, hospitals are terrible. I spent 30 years working hospital security. And parking is just disaster. Everything is disastrous. We went to the emergency room, but then we were sent over here to park in the parking garage by a security officer. I think the basic price is $4 to park in here. I think no matter how long you're parked in here, it's $4. They can make a ton of money just. There's another helicopter, or is it the same one circling? I don't know. We're at JPS Hospital. Worked with two different security officers that were shot in a parking lot. That was at St. Joseph Hospital, you know, a different time. Both at 9:15 p.m. at night. Well, I guess I didn't have to say night, did I? 9:15. Not sure whether life flight helicopter, if that's what it's called. I'm not sure if they land on the roof or down in a parking lot. This video is being recorded during the virus, so nobody's really getting into the hospital. I mean, well, patients, but I mean, the family and stuff really can't get into the hospital normally. My ex-wife had an attack of pain last night. Had to call the ambulance, and they brought her here. They discovered her problem, gallstones, and they're going to operate. And nobody can be with her, so we had to bring something down for her, cell phone and what have you. Wow, look at all the parking spots over there. Watching a YouTube video last night of a guy in an airplane making a video with his cell phone. He had the window open on the airplane a little bit, and he was videoing with two hands, but he took one hand off, and there went the cell phone. A Apple, by the way. Here comes my daughter. I'll wait back here.